Welcome back to the LEC for our post-game interview with winner Exakick. Thank you so much for joining me. Félicitations for taking down Heretics today. I want to talk about this series. It was really clean 2-0 from you guys, but the second game didn't go as expected, I think, in the early game because of the whole Jankos attention to the bot lane. Can you explain how it impacted the early game and the first 15 minutes of the game for you guys?
I mean, especially for bot lane matchup, right? We are supposed to do 3-wave crash because we are full pro into Lucian Nami because they are very weak level 1. But then I think we ward too early, so I think it shows on the broadcast that Nami is sweeping the ward, right? Level 1.
Yeah.
And then Jankos knows we have no ward, so it just comes to level 2 gank and be annoying when we want to stack the wave. So I'm forced to base in this matchup. And then our jungle is weak, so we can't really contest the Kindred. So I just can't play actually because of this gank, which is not supposed to be normal, but I guess in this game it was a very good call from them to just not allow us to play on bot.
It was really well played for them, but how did you recover from this?
I mean, honestly, when I saw Gale force Lucian into me having like boots and 3 longsword, I was like, it's fucking lost. But I think from this, our Gnar is allowed to play 1v1, right? Because Kindred is camping bot, and then he's getting ahead, and then we are getting plates and CS lead, and then Mark is getting 6. So how we play is just like we play through Gnar flank in team fights. We don't play through mid too much because Lucian is too strong, and we just play front to back with the Talia because actually Talia is very good into their comp, right? They have like 4 champs that needs to dash. They can't really play into her, so the game was just not around me anymore because I was too behind. It was more around my top side and just fighting well.
And you came up with the right game plan to finally get the victory that time. And I wanted to follow up on the matchup on the bot lane, actually, because for me, this series was all about bot lane. And in Reddit check, we hyped up the matchup between you and Jack Spectra. What do you think of him as a player? Because you guys go way back from the EU Masters last year. And how do you think he developed as a player this year in the LEC?
I think he's good. But honestly, I think me and DOS are probably slightly better than Jack Spectra and Mercer, right? But here they kind of surprised us in game 2. But yeah, overall, I think we stepped up a lot compared to EU Master, where we completely choked, right? That's why we got Giga Stomped. And I think the key is just to kind of not give him Draven, right? Because he's very comfortable on it, and they probably have a very clear game plan on how to play around it. And that's what we did here in this series, right? But yeah, I mean, it's very nice to play against him because we have kind of like this rivalry, right? But I think we are better probably as a team and on the bot lane, so that showed on game 1, right? But on game 2 it was kind of I got kind of shit stomped. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of nice.
It can't always be about you guys and bot lane, but you were mentioning how confident you feel right now in the LEC, especially being paired with DOS on the bot lane. And I know that there's a lot of discussion around the fact that you may become one of the best bot lanes in the LEC in the months to come. How do you react to this?
I think that's probably a cap. I think we need to still work a lot with us, especially on our confidence on stage, because probably in scrims we play very good, but sometimes we have troubles to replicate it in the officials. Whereas there is like bot lanes like G2 that probably don't care if it's scrims or officials, right? So they just play very good. And I think Koi bot lane stepped up a lot, and they came back to their summer split form. So I'd say that we are not too bad, but we are not too good either. We just need to keep working and stay disciplined and hope that the game 2 against Heretics never happen again, especially when the matchup is supposed to be that free.
I know you take losses and everything like this very personally. And talking about SK as a whole, you came into this week having to bounce back from the loss you suffered last week, knowing that if you won today, which you did, you would have to play again tomorrow against Vitality. How did you prepare for this week, knowing that you had to play potentially 2 back-to-back best-of-3s?
I think we prepared the Heretics first, and Vitality we don't really care too much because there is the series against Heretics first. And personally, I was like, wait, if I lose on Saturday, I'm out actually, and I'm in vacation. So I was like, kind of shocked actually that we can be 3rd place in the regular season and just be 8th to 7th place on group stage. But now winning 2-0 and advancing into the next step, I think it's nice. And I think Vitality didn't show up that strong, I'd say, against Heretics last week. but we didn't either against Koi, right? So I think it's just gonna be fun tomorrow to play against Neon. I hope that they come up very strong on the bot lane against us, so we can have fun. And yeah, I just wanna win against them, right?
Well, I hope you guys give us an amazing series. Thank you so much for the interview, Exakick. À demain against Vitality. And to set up for our next match, Astralis find themselves on a miracle run. And a few weeks ago, on the Baron Pit, Ender agreed to Finn's request to have him on between two Iverns in exchange of making the miracle run. And to make good on our end of the bargain, Ender, over to you.
Hey.
Hi. Great being here.
Cool. We are back for Between Two Iverns. I am Ender here with Finn. I wanted to know, where's this name Finn come from?
Yeah, it's
Adventure Time?
No, it's quite silly. It's just like my real name.
Right.
Yeah.
Like Huckleberry.
No. It's actually my mother gave it to me. She was like thought of it. She thought it was a cool name.
She's a Star Wars fan?
No, I don't. Not that I know.
Can you give me just like a Ray? Ray!
I wouldn't want to do that. No, sorry.
Okay. You know, come to think of it, what is? Do you mind? I'm trying to conduct a professional interview back here. Get back to work. So actually, I wanted to talk to you about, obviously there's some big games coming up this weekend. Maybe at some point, are you okay?
No.
Is he bothering you?
I'm just curious what he's doing here. That's all.
Budget cuts.
Budget cuts.
Yeah.
I see.
Astralis would know something about that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't have spent much on that roster.
I think we have good soul in the team.
Right, yeah. Good soul, okay. Okay, cool. So you were just telling me backstage about this matchup coming up this weekend. You're like, Adam sucks. You're gonna destroy him in lane. He's playing these cringe. You want to say that to?
I did not say that. No.
No, you did. Could you why are you here? You were selling us the Astralis Miracle Run.
Yeah.
Or you wanna tell us about that?
No, I think if you just look at the numbers, we're practicing way harder than another team. And I think the guys are really just working day and night because just trying to really push forward.
Thank you, Finn. Everyone, LEC Winter Finals are coming up hot next Sunday, right here. You're going to be watching. Who do you think is going to take it home? G2, Mad, Vitality,
well,
BDS.
I would like to say that Astralis has a shot making it all the way. I think
Heretics. Cool. And any one of those teams, we have a lot of great contenders playing throughout the weekend, getting ready for next Sunday. Again, not Monday, next Sunday. That is all that we need from you. Thank you very much. Thank you. God.
You're gonna cut the last part out, right?
Cut what part?
In post, you're just gonna cut out the drafts?
Oh, no, I think we're okay. You know, could you help?
No.
Can you? I think it's an IKEA.
That's racist.
Yeah, that's close enough. Perfect. Where were we? We were talking about G2 or something?
That was all you had? Nah.
Better than Astralis' regular season.
I didn't expect much else from a guy that just came back from NA after a failed year.
Yeah, well, no one expected much out of you either, and Excel happened. So.
Yeah. First time playoffs.
People can surprise.
First time playoffs in organization history. Now, where are they without me?
We're a Koi without you. You know, I can't help but feel like you're kind of taking my thing. Like, I thought that the hair was kind of... I was growing out my hair, and then all of a sudden I noticed you did.
Yeah, I don't think you can claim that as your own, I think.
Right. But
really trademark.
And on its own, that wouldn't bother me. But then I quit the LEC, and I moved to LA.
Yeah.
And then I came back here. And then again, you did the same thing.
But
Why are you copying me?
I came back willingly.
No, I came back willingly.
You came back because you were fired.
That doesn't make any sense. Why would I come back if I was fired if I'm... What? Can you pick it up back there? Unbelievable. Interns these days. Interns.
Are you gonna check on him?
No, he's okay.
Oh my God. I was, yeah, near tears actually in some points in that super serious and interview between Finn and Ender.
He's great.
He wanted to be on it, so, you know.
I love it.
Yeah, let's see if he's also in the corner of the punches this time, as we are about to get into BDS versus Astralis for this elimination best of 3, the second one of the day. And I want to call back to some fan sentiment that we've had before the split, and you know, it wasn't good.
I'll be real.
We want to watch these teams in a best of 3. Here we are, guys.
That wasn't just fan sentiment. That was my sentiment as well. And I'm just throwing that out there. And I think that it's honestly crazy that both teams have elevated themselves to be in this position now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely credit to both. There's some outside forces, Fnatic failing to kind of glue together, and you can definitely argue the same thing for XL. But either way, you can't really say that these two teams haven't earned their spot here. Specifically, of course, BDS after last year. But I feel like Astralis as well, they did enough to get over the finish line, and now they see themselves facing off in this elimination match.
I even went back to look at the notes that we made in the opening meetings we have with the caster team, and for Astralis, it says top 8 would be an absolute success. Doesn't look like they will get anywhere. And then for BDS, same, expected to be bottom 2. To make top 8 is a positive. That's flying colors,
That
man.
sounds like my points, but yeah.
I think it is.
I completely agree. And I also think, like, yes, the comments were rough back then, but it also brings us to reality now with these two teams. And fact is, well, let's start with BDS. I think they've been absolutely phenomenal from every single member of that team. Adam's been doing great, but it's just the entire team there. It's just a well-oiled machine where everyone has just exceeded the expectations.
Yeah, I think I agree with your point, and I feel like, again, the bot side actually facilitates that as well, right? When you've got such a solid bottom side in a matchup where the bot lane is pretty much just the meta right now, if you have a successful bot lane, chances are you win the game. Having Adam on the top side to consistently be a side lane threat, or just winning his 1v1 in the lane without any outside help, is basically just kind of it's a rolled 20 die every single game, just because you know, even if your bot side might fail, the top side is always going to be ahead in 9 times out of 10.
Always got the option to counterpick. You can really build on that top lane, and I love it when we look at kind of Adam's career arc as well, the fact that he has such a prominent role in the success that BDS has had.
Yeah, and I loved how in the beginning when Adam started bringing out the Olafs and the Bruises, everyone was just like, oh, is this the only thing he can play? And then he defined the meta.
Yeah.
More people started playing the Olaf, more people started seeing, hey, this is actually a Bruiser matchup, so if you start playing these wacky picks that Adam is bringing out, you can succeed as well, and his picks has brought his team forward.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, I guess kind of ahead of the curve, right? If the meta changes into what your champion pool is, you're kind of just going to be better than everyone at it. And Adam has kind of just defined that so far.
And, you know, I've seen people say, okay, but what if the meta changes? Well, newsflash, it's not going to change for winter. So as long as the meta stays as it currently is, this will still be the matchup. But also big credit to Finn, because him coming into the first week, well, all of Astralis pretty much, it looked like a lost cause. But then they started coming back. And for the first time, it was through the bot lane. But then it started being through Finn. His Gnar performance, the Gangplank performance against XL. If he did not lock in Gangplank that day, they would not be here.
And you actually have an added compounded interest in this, don't you, Guldborg?
Okay, so I'll be honest. You know, I was after a show day, I was speaking to Finn. You know, we got into talking about the matchup, and I was like, oh, sorry?
Were you in a bar?
Well, I guess I have to throw that out there. Yeah, I was in a bar. Having a good chat. Okay. And, you know, we were talking about the matchup. I was like, Finn, I'm so impressed with your performance. You've really elevated yourself. You've been looking really good on that top side of the map. But I'm sorry, I don't see you beating BDS. I think BDS is going to take that. And I'll be honest with you. If you win today's matchup, I'll drink a Red Bull out of your shoe.
A shoey.
Yeah. A shoey.
And we've made that bet.
Okay.
And now it's been immortalized,
Thanks
so now you have to do it.
So that makes me think that you think it's going to be an uphill battle for Astralis.
Right.
Why is that? And where do you think the options lie? Or what are they going to have to attack if they don't want to make this as much as an uphill battle?
I think it's great from the top side with Finn in general, but I don't see you putting resources into that. I think you keep him low recon. I think a lot of it is going to be through bot side, but where I see Astralis fall apart in today's matchup, it's going to be in the mid-jungle duo for me.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big problem. Like, you can't really play into Crownie Labrov. Playing into Adam is a bit of a nightmare because of the constant counter pick, bruiser picks that he's always going to just throw into, be a bit of a spanner in the work. and you don't really win the mid jungle. So I kind of struggle to see where it's a bit of a hard, it's a really, really hard sell. I think maybe if 113 has one of those days where every engage that he has works, then maybe Astralis have a bit of a chance. You just play for scaling and just hope that 113 sends are good.
Uphill battle, but the Shui is going to be extra motivation for Finn, I'm sure, as well as wanting a chance to advance and face Mad Lions tomorrow. It's Vedi time.
That it is. Thank you very much, Sjokz. It's great to be back for another week of the LEC. Everyone joining us here on this fine Saturday evening. It's raining outside, so I'm happy to be in here. Could be out gallivanting. Frolicking. Have you ever frolicked?
Gallivant?
Have you ever frolicked?
Well, hang on, no, let's get back to the...
Gallivanting and frolicking are very similar.
Where would you gallivant?
In the rain.
Would you?
It's joyful.
That's how you spend your free time?
No, but I could do. I
so
could frolic,
We're talking hypotheticals
now.
No,
I'm just saying, sometimes a guy needs a good frolic.
Hypothetically, I could be CEO of Riot and release the MMO right now. That's
Mine
what hypothetically
is a more achievable
We're both
goal.
just living in dreams, are we? That's what's happening right now.
Astralis and BDS, perhaps living in a dream world after today. Whoever claims the 2-0 here sets himself up for a match against Mad tomorrow. What a match is going to be, Vedi.
You're going to talk to the music?
Well, so the problem was I started talking through the music, and so now I have to continue talking through the music.
No, I'm going to commit, yeah.
I've been told it's fine in a slightly peeved tone by our producers. So perhaps it wasn't as fine as I thought it could be.
It's fine, it's fine.
But speaking about a slightly misspelled fine, Finn in the top lane. Against Adam is a matchup we have to look at today.
You need to put that as one of your best. That was phenomenal. Some people that don't get that, write down fine and then slightly misspell it and see what you get. We are about ready for the draft. The players are getting ready to, well, begin, I guess. Our English language is very proficient today, I feel, Medic. We're just waiting. There it is. That's what I was looking for. Hang on. There it is. Right, Jack's Lucian Ride's going to be banned on the side of BDS. Astralis looking to take away both the Ashe and the Zeri. So it looks like, once again, typical AD carry focus. We'll see what the priority now becomes, because remember that Caitlyn is still up and available. It looks like that it will remain so for Crownie. Is this the direction that BDS is looking for? We've seen a lot of Sejuani priority, the cheeky Darius hover from Adam. Very unlikely to be first picked. We know that he has a wealth of champions at his disposal, but we know that he loves to spin as he hovers the Garen as well.
Spinning is kind of a motif that flows through all of Adam's champions, isn't it?
It's true, yeah. Yeah, 100% is.
Elise, however, only spinning webs in the jungle.
It.
Sheo is going to have that early aggressive jungler. There's the Caitlyn Lux immediately for Kobbe and JeongHoon down towards that bottom side.
So what will the response be here for Crownie? And it's going to be Ezreal Karma. Yes, it will be. Unsurprising. Crownie is a very proficient Ezreal player. Going to look to play very safe, leverage his range and poke. As the Sejuani comes out for 1-1-3, one of his tried and true, something that he's very comfortable on, and something that we know he does love to play. Continuing with the lack of Maokai, often we do see the Maokai banned on blue sides, but knowing that Astralis haven't showcased it at all, it looks like that they're going to continue to just let that one through, so the Sejuani will be that pickup. So far, very well-rounded comp coming from Astralis, very typical front to back, good range, good scaling, very strong early game bot lane presence, something you'd often expect to see is something that can help you get mid-prio. Sylas is something that you should be thinking about, especially in the hands of Dajor. It is currently up and available. It pairs very well with the Sejuani. It's something that they can use to fight and then roam down towards the bot, threaten that tower, threaten something like a dive. Wouldn't be surprised to see that banned away from BDS right now.
Sylas does make sense. Akali as well works well with the Sejuani in the mid lane. Doesn't give you quite as much push in the lane, but does give you that melee synergy that works so well with Sejuani's E. BDS get the Chase and the Renekton taken away from them. Of course, Renekton and Elise, a tried and true combination. Adam, though, as you've already said, has a plethora of champions that he can pick up there. He plays Dread Knight Darius, he plays Dunkmaster Darius, he plays, I don't know any other, the normal Darius skin.
The normal one?
Yeah, I'm sure there's some other ones in there as well.
Ones,
But there, with a Kled ban, the Sylas is locked in for Astralis, so called it out, Vedi. BDS deciding it didn't need to be banned, now looking towards their mid and their top laner. Of course, Karma could be flexed. There's the Kassadin, though. Immediately for mid lane, and Olaf for Adam. The Berserker Viking is going to take another trip up towards the top side of the map.
Well, it's a very interesting comp from BDS. They've got a hyper-aggressive, early game focus, lots of dive, lots of violence top side into scaling.
Yeah, Kassadin
Ezreal,
mid,
Ezreal, who's looking to leverage his lane, range, poke, and you kind of have two different identities on the side of BDS where, as we already mentioned, top side wants to look for early aggression, wants to try and I guess, be that bridge from the early game into the mid to late game, whereas the bot side of the map is quite happy to just farm, scale. You're likely going to see double tier across the board, like just a lot of levels are what they're waiting for, and they're looking to leverage their range. Sure, they do scale well, but without a real well, I guess kiting back and things, kind of wanting the enemy to come into you is something that you can look to take advantage of against a champion like Sylas, but Astralis gone for a much more conventional approach. Front to back team fighting, solid engage. They have both the Sion and the Sejuani. You have great follow-up with the Sylas and the Lux as well. It's just very typical and very straightforward. Not really much more to break down from the side of Astralis. It just comes down to, can they actually enable this bot side of the map? You know that Kobbe and JeongHoon will be the lanes that you look to try and play through. We know that Kobbe has had, honestly, a fantastic split so far. He's been very, very prominent, a reliable carry for the team, and it makes a lot of sense that they want to put that trust in him. We'll see how BDS approach, because you would expect them to cross map and attack the top side of the map. Can they snowball Adam? Can they find any successful dives against the Sion in the early game? We'll have to wait and see. This is, of course, an elimination match. Winner moves on to face Mad Lions in a best-of-3 tomorrow. The loser will be eliminated from the Winter Split.
It's a bit of a hectic schedule for whoever wins this. Of course, a less hectic schedule for whoever loses this. You have a 2-week break before we start up the spring split of the LEC. Everything moving at a rapid pace here in Europe right now, and we'll see if BDS and Astralis can start this game off a little more rapidly than the first games of the day. BDS want to put a lot of stock in getting that top side ahead and getting that Olaf ahead so we can run down Kobbe and JeongHoon later in the game. If they can't do that, though, the scaling from Astralis, the power in teamfights will be unstoppable. Let's see who takes game 1 as BDS face off against Astralis. Let's get into it, Betty.
Let's get into it. Ba-do-ba-do-ba-do. That's not a real song. I just made it up on the spot.
That's still a real song.
Let's get into it.
Yeah, you've made it up. You have created it. You have breathed life into those lyrics.
But it doesn't have an ending.
Does a song have to have an ending?
It does, Medic. Yes, it does.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's more of a tune.
Interesting.
113. Looking to get a bit of information here. They know exactly what Crownie, Adam, and Labrov were all up to after JeongHoon walked into the lane. And they wanted to try and drop a ward. Hang on, did they actually get that ward? I can't see it. Yes, it looks like they did. The Kassadin icon was covering it. So they will get to see where the Elise is starting and what she will be up to.
Would you be shocked if I say, I think she's going to go top lane at some point in the early game?
That's a fairly safe suggestion. My dear Vedius. Your detective work continues to surprise me.
Well, only 5 years on the job so far, Betty.
Only 5 years on the job.
But I do like this from 113. We have seen some Caitlyn Lux lanes kind of left out to dry here in the LEC, and 113 goes Razorbeaks down into the bottom side, can look for an early gank, get level 3 from Blue and Gromp, I
wonder if he is concerned about an invade, because, you know, Caitlyn Lux, often a very powerful lane, strong in the 2 versus 2, but in terms of raw wave clear, Karma has many a supports beat thanks to her low cooldowns and access to the mantra. So you can already see BDS clearing out these waves quickly. The poke is already very strong, and this means that BDS could collapse on the bot side very quickly. And you can see as well Sheo actually doing a full bot side clear, and maybe even threatening a potential invade or even a dive on the bot side of the map. And this is something we didn't talk about. While yes, typically you look at Olaf, you look at Elise, very powerful as a mid-top, well, a jungle top duo rather, but diving a Sion, like, how much value do you really gain from that? Sure, maybe you can get the Olaf ahead a little bit. However, if you take apart the Caitlyn Lux, then all of Astralis' early game suddenly disappears. And you can trust Adam to win in the isolated 1v1. It's good damage.
Yeah, lots of damage coming down onto Labrov. One more auto is enough to take him down. Kobbe though low now, and Crownie's trading onto him. Kobbe will fall first. JeongHoon's going to try and flash away, dodges from the cocoon. Sheo unable to land it there.
So there's good news and there's bad news for both teams. The good news for Astralis is that they were able to find themselves first blood. The bad news is that did go on to JeongHoon. The good news for BDS is that they are able to respond by getting the kill onto Sheo. The bad news is that, well, there's not really that much bad news for them. It's kind of good overall for BDS. They were able to push the wave underneath the tower. The fact that Caitlyn was the one that died means that she's going to lose even more farm. And while Crownie wasn't the one that actually secured the kill, he still finds himself with a very small advantage. So overall, great play from BDS, even though they did end up losing the first blood.
And Crownie still has cleanse and flash for this lane. It does mean Labrov needs to be a little bit safer. We'll see him get caught out here. The CC potential from a Lux and a Caitlyn is devastating in the early game.
Ooh, nice. JeongHoon kind of made it look like that he was going for an auto attack on that minion. Threw the Q out just as the minion dies. Caught Labrov off guard, able to set up the trap combined with the binding combo. But of course, Sheo hovering on the bot side of the map meant that he was able to trade back a kill. Nuke now looking to interrupt Dajor with that tower shot. Dajor, ooh, could look for something. Nuke with a good sidestep. Dajor's mana is a little bit low. I think he should really focus on trying to go back to base here. Does of course have the TP, but Nuke does as well, so I guess holding on to that one for the time being as a wave slowly start stacking in bots. Keeping my eyes on the junglers. We can see 113 securing that bot. Scuttle Crab and Sheo actually pathing back towards his Raptors as he's expecting 113 to try and steal them away.
Sheo and 1113 will face each other in the jungle. Sheo no flash, does just have the smite coming off cooldown, and with the control ward will clear out any vision that Astralis had. But 113 will reciprocate by walking back into the jungle and taking this 75 gold off of the map.
Well, the good news for 113 is his bot lane has the push right now. That stacking wave after Crownie and Labrov push the wave underneath the tower means that Kobbe and JeongHoon get to rotate first. On top of the fact that Nuke needs to go back to base, there was a real risk of Sheo not being able to contest those Raptors, but at the end of the day, he's decided, you know what, I'm going to back off. But it's one of those trade situations, you know, 113 is like, oh, my bot lane's pushing, they can come to help me, but on top of that, they have information on where Sheo is, as long as 113 is being a nuisance, which means that the bot lane can continue to push. They just secured their first plate of the game, and this is ideally the position that they would like to stay in as we continue our path through the early game.
Yeah, that battle between Crownie and Kobbe is one we really expected to be a key talking point through this series. You can see, although neither of them are, you know, topping the numbers, both these teams middle of the pack coming in out of the regular season. Kobbe and Crownie have been such key points for their team's success. Kobbe especially, as we see a Cocoon hitting here onto 113. He's going to try and get away. Does still have the flash. Ignite is ticking on him, but that shouldn't be enough to burn down the ball, and he will walk back to his own jungle.
45 HP. For those interested at home, you can actually see those very low values in the top right of your screen.
Underneath the player portraits.
Underneath the player portraits,
or the
yes,
champion
yes.
portraits.
Yeah. Probably helps, because if whenever the player is low, don't just look at the Sejuani, you know? Yeah. Wouldn't be that helpful.
I do sometimes, though, to get the numbers in a moment, you know?
Yeah, it's actually super helpful. Yeah. Great addition to our overlay, regardless. But I don't think 113 was expecting that amount of burst. We'll force him off with the wave states as they are, with bot wave bouncing back and mid wave actually having the push right now. Crownie needs to be careful, though. I like the play from JeongHoon, just walking up without any fear, knowing where the jungler is.
Labrov can do the same thing, though. That Mantra W just heals you up so much in the lane if you use it effectively. And JeongHoon and Kobbe can try and step around now. Sheo not in the best of shapes as the Cocoon goes wide, and Sheo will fall. Labrov and Crownie now need to get the hell out of here. Nuke coming down with the 6 as well. If Kassadin can get a couple of kills, perhaps he can start snowballing early. There's one. Kobbe now caught off down towards the bottom side. No summoners for him. Crownie low as well, but he survives. Another kill for Nuke. Vift Walk is available for him. He's got mana for it as well, but maybe he's looking to go back in. Jumps onto Dale, who flashes away, but is immediately rooted. Nuke still trading in here. 113 trying to survive, but he can't do it. Another kill over to BDS. And what a demolition for them in the bot lane.
Wow, BDS walk away with all the kills. I think that ended up being a 3-for-1 or a 3-for-2. But what an advantage gained for BDS. Sheo, he started off the dragon, but he didn't have any assistance, so that kill ended up being rather slow. That meant the 113, after getting bursted out in the bot tri-bush, could actually go back to base and make his way all the way back to the dragon. The mid wave had been pushed out as well. And have a look at this. You can see, well, actually, Kassadin is the first one to move. Sheo gets collapsed on, though, thanks to the ignite and the binding from JeongHoon. And the small knockup from 113 means that Sheo can't really escape. Kobbe now finds himself in a bit of a tricky spot as Nuke decides to ignore 113 and instead focus down. And now it's Kobbe that's getting collapsed on. The damage under Crownie is good, but the shields from Labrov are even better. And Dajor thinks, you know what, I think we can win this fight. Look at the damage that comes out from Nuke on his ultimate there. Buys enough time for Labrov and Nuke to be able to secure the kill. And it looks like maybe, just maybe, Nuke, or rather 113 can trade kills, but the shield from Labrov is enough. So really great stuff there from BDS, accruing themselves a 1k gold lead.
And as well, getting 2 kills onto Nuke. He's already got Merc Treads. He's stacking up his tier. The clock is ticking. Already 7 of 16 for that Kassadin. And we wondered if you know, Sheo could bridge this team to the mid-late game. Well, at the moment, that bridge is looking very sturdy. JeongHoon and Kobbe, though, managed to get another plate down towards this bottom side. Don't have a gold lead, though, because of those kills and assists going over to Crownie. So, although the Lux and the Caitlyn in isolation are doing a good job, as soon as those junglers get involved, it's going to the side of BDS.
Finn did roam down to the mid lane, but expect him to be spotted out by all that vision that's covering the top side. You can see the bot lane of Astralis continuing to threaten the tower, and Dajor is roaming once again. He has been pinged out, but Sheo, I haven't kept full track. Has he killed his blue buff yet this game? I'm actually going to go back and check.
Okay, you do that. I'll talk about this fight that's happening in the mid lane. Sheo looks for the cocoon. Dajor dodges to the side of it, but the Ripwalk can still chase him in. Spider skittling forward, 113 around the side, has that Glacial Prism, but Sheo now hitting 6 and Labrov coming across means that 113 will have to dash back to the safety of his own jungle. And now, Kobbe and JeongHoon should play a little bit more defensively. You can see them pinging to retreat as they were pushed up towards the tower, and Sheo and Labrov had first move. You're just watching if he's killed his blue buff.
Yeah, I don't think he has.
No, right now, Labrov and Sheo are looking to kill off the Astralis bot side. Finn flashing away there. I don't really know.
I'm afraid I actually have no idea either.
Maybe he was thinking another undertow would slow me, but he was so healthy. Anyway, that was the decision that was made, and we'll move on from it. Many of them in the game of League of Legends, and sometimes mistakes like that happen. Could have been typing in chat, for example. Sometimes, you know, you're typing in a timer and you accidentally flash. Nuke, though, continues to trade in the mid lane. A 17-18, almost 20 CS lead now for the Kassadin. It will be negated a little bit.
So he literally walked past his blue like, no, I don't have time, I've got to cover bot lane. Like, Sheo hasn't killed his blue buff yet. He hasn't killed it once. Well, I have a new fun minigame that we're playing this game.
Like, he flashes away from a Ragnaroking Olaf. I guess it kind of makes sense. Wanted to make sure that the undertow couldn't keep hitting. Maybe a little bit defensive, but also if Finn can just survive this lane, he does everything he needs to do. Don't give Adam kills. Don't let him run onto Kobbe and JeongHoon in the later game fights, and you're in a much better situation as a team. Rift Herald, though, secured for Astralis, trying to get themselves back on the board here as they are hemorrhaging gold a little bit in this early game.
That will be Sheo's third Scuttle Crab on the top side of the map this game. Still hasn't touched his blue. This is fascinating. I don't think I've ever seen a jungler in a competitive game not even touch their blue buff.
Maybe he's allergic, man. Maybe. We don't know.
I don't know, maybe he just doesn't get on with the blue buff this game. Who knows? We'll see if he does end up killing it this game. I'm still keeping my eyes on it.
Well,
but regardless,
there's no way Nuke doesn't kill it at some point. That blue buff is going to die.
He's going towards it, bro.
Is he going to give it to the Kassadin? Nuke's on his way. He's going back to mid lane.
He's hit the blue buff.
Oh! More action between Sheo and his blue buff than in the top lane so far this game.
Yeah.
He's got it! First blue buff of the game.
11 minutes, 3 seconds.
That's got to be some sort of record.
That has to be a record, yeah. Crazy stuff. In any case, let's get back to the actual game. Overall, BDS find themselves in a pretty comfortable position right now. They've been able to mitigate the early game power that is Caitlyn Lux, and it's nice to see this Ezreal Karma really be a powerful nullifier, but Sheo, he spent so much time covering the bot side.
Cocoon's gonna hit, and even though JeongHoon knew he was there, the Spider scaling forward, the Q just wide. And JeongHoon will be able to survive. Ace in the hole comes out as well, but Labrov can tank that one. JeongHoon gets out with his flash used and the heal. True Shot Barrage is nowhere near. Thank you, observers, for not baiting us with that one. As we see BDS constantly just pushing this Astralis bot lane around the map, making them really fight for every moment. And a lot of that's been off the back of the fact that Sheo has been there so consistently.
And I mean, this is the man that we need to give credit to because, you know, sure, I was having a bit of a joke about the fact that he didn't kill his blue buff.
You don't need to kill your blue buff if you're killing the opposition,
Vedi. Look at what he's been doing with his time. It's just been making sure that Crownie and Labrov have been safe. And remember, we said coming into this game that Astralis' whole game plan is to funnel resources into their bot side of the map. Get the Caitlyn Lux going in the early game. And so far, it just hasn't found success. And do we have those Caitlyn stats?
Yeah, we do.
Let's bring up the Caitlyn stats because European Caitlyn, it's not that good. 3 wins, 7 losses, average damage per minute, 471. And we compared it to the LCK Caitlyn to give it a bit of a comparison to see what it looks like. Over there, it's very good. Yes. Teams are not very good here in Europe, or rather in the LCK, shutting down the other game prowess that the Caitlyn does have. And I think BDS demonstrating once again, like, how effective European teams are actually at nullifying this Caitlyn and bringing into question how effective certain teams can be at utilizing the Caitlyn as well.
I had a brief look at the Caitlyn support stacks in the LCK.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
Actually closer in damage minutes to the European Caitlyn's than the European Caitlyn AD carries are to the LCK Caitlyn AD carries.
So the LCK supports do as much damage as our AD carries do on Caitlyn.
Yeah, about
cool.
a comparable amount.
That's cool, yeah, cool.
I mean, it's carrier. So.
What's MSI?
It's in our city as well, mate.
It is.
It's in our city.
Dragon will go down in favor of Astralis. That will be the first of the game. But this Kassadin continues to tick away. 2-0-1, level 10. Only 6 levels away from that 16, but hell, a level 11 in and of itself is quite scary. That second point in your ultimate gives you a lot of extra mobility. BDS threatening the Sion, but I don't think Finn really cares. He's not too concerned about being dived, but that doesn't mean the BDS aren't gonna try.
Let's see what they can do here. No Rift out for them, of course. That's sitting on 113's shoulders. Looks like he might be placing that in the mid lane now. Finn tries to clear out the way with the Decimating Smash. Ignite is taking their Cocoon as well. And Finn, you can be pretty damn tanky, but you can't survive! You can! You can survive! I was surprised.
Diving aside is unsurprisingly difficult. He popped the potion right at the last minute as well to give him that extra bit of health regeneration, and this is why, coming into this draft, I was a bit skeptical about this Olaf Elise, because I was like, are they really going to try and dive Sion over and over again? They didn't. That's not what they ended up doing, but that's a great example of why Sion is such a great weak side top laner. He's someone that can soak up a lot of pressure, and back in the day, he was someone that was often used in the lane swap.
There was a lane swap in the LPL today. Did not go well. It really didn't for IG. They kind of got stomped, but here we didn't see a lane swap, but we do see. It is the thought that counts. We didn't see a lane swap, but we do see Finn falling behind a little bit as expected in the matchup. About a 35 CS lead for Adam. He's finished his Gore Drinker. Finn went Sunfire Cape just for the wave clear, gets a little bit more push out of that, and of course, more tankiness on Sion is always a good thing. But we are approaching mid-game here, Betty. 15 minutes into the game, we talked a little bit in draft about how compositions play against each other. Astralis with this front-to-back team fighting comp, BDS with bridging into a powerful scaling with the Ezreal and the Kassadin. I want to just approach how we think the fights are actually going to happen. Because right now, the teams can decide to take fights however they want to take fights. Do you feel there's a team or a composition that wants to be forcing a little bit more?
Well, I think at this point in time, I'd be a little hesitant if I was BDS, because I think Astralis' comp is just so much easier to play in terms of his front to back. While I think you can argue their engage isn't the most reliable, because the Sion ultimate is very easily dodged, especially by a Kassadin and an Ezreal. The Sejuani ultimate, sure, if it does land, there's a cleanse on top of Crownie. You've got the Laure on top of Nuke, and he's like, he can probably take a couple hits before he can just riff walk away, on top of the fact that they have Flash and they have Karma, so. But I think in terms of their raw power, at this point in the game, there's a very real world where they can just give away goal that they don't need to. Instead, they can just leverage their range, they can take their time, and I do think the BDS have a scaling advantage. I think it's going to be very difficult to get on top of this Ezreal and Kassadin, and I think it's very reminiscent of what G2 did last week, where they just kind of kited back against the Mad Lions. But they had that double AD carry composition where they just leveraged their range, they would retreat in a fight as the enemy came towards them, and then they would re-engage, leveraging their strong mobility. And I wouldn't be surprised to see BDS do the same thing, maybe even look for a pick here and there, thanks to Sheo, as Adam just dominates the side lane. I don't think anyone in this game will really be able to stop him from dominating. And they'll use this Herald likely to unlock the mid lane tower. They could potentially use it on sides as well. But I think BDS is quite happy to just keep this game going the way that it's currently going, continue to stack up, continue to buy time, generate those levels, and wait.
And Astralis seems to be happy to do that right now. Didn't really want to take a fight around that Rift Herald. Adam had started to work his way up from the bottom side, but now with Finn pushing in the wave, we'll see if Astralis want to start anything. It's a minute 20 though on the next Drake. Wasn't an early first Dragon, so we don't have that point of, a soul fight in the next 10 minutes or so. We're still only at 1 Dragon for Astralis and 0 for BDS. And still only an item across the board for most of these players. Rod of Age is stacking up on Nuke. It's at 2 stacks right now, so hit max stacks around 25 minutes. I think that might be 15 to 16, which is a slightly more optimized level up timing. When you fully stack your Rod of Ages, you get an extra level, obviously, and getting the experience from level 15 to level 16 is better than getting the experience from level 14 to 15, because it's more experience, right? So we'll see if Nuke gets that. If not, I went on a little spiel there for about, 30 seconds. Nothing happened in the game, so please forgive me for the spieling.
Reading up on your experience.
When it's every level takes more experience to get to, right?
I remember the Dragon spawning in 30 seconds.
Oh, so, interesting.
But I remember having this epiphany one day as to why it was called experience, and I was like, the things that you do in life provide you with an experience that help get you better at doing those things.
Yeah.
And then they just put a value on it in games. And I remember being like 11 at the time and thinking, oh, I'm an experienced woodcutter when I got level 90.
Oh, yeah.
It was a moment, you know what I mean?
I see that, I see that. Riptail used him in the mid lane. Fresh Prism going out as well as some damage onto Sheo. He's going to repel up.
That was an experience for sure. Sheo very low, going to be forced back. He's actually going to stick around though. BDS, again, look at how they're leveraging their range, just chipping away, poking at the HP bars.
Oh, that's a good double binding, and Finn goes in with the unstoppable onslaught as well. Already they get one. Crownie falls down, looking for the flank from the side as well. Can't quite find more out of it, but that will be dragging over to Astralis.
Wow, the crowd erupts with Astralis chants, and BDS were not expecting that. They were kind of playing at the danger's edge, I would say, and they were not expecting JeongHoon to land that double binding. You saw how quickly Finn was able to find a good engage and how quickly Astralis could collapse. And this is that mid game that I was talking about, where you want to be careful about forcing those fights. You don't have that much damage. Like, sure, you can definitely win these fights, but like, look at these bindings from JeongHoon. This was the first one. They chunk out Sheo. He's forced to disengage. And then Astralis, you know, at this point, BDS is confident that, like, we can keep poking away at them. We have Karma, we have Ezreal, just, like, keep trying to chip away at the HP bar. But the position, Fog of War here from JeongHoon, the double binding into the ultimate, into the knockup, secures the kill onto Crownie.
And it's the risk as well. If you have a binding coming out of the Fog of War and you've already used your cleanse as Crownie, it's so much harder to dodge, so much harder to keep yourself safe in those situations, even when you have the tools at your disposal. If your reactions aren't quick enough, you can just be caught out. We're looking at this lane menacingly, Vedi. I feel like nothing's going to happen.
Clearly, you've never seen a Finn Adam lane before. Look, oh my god, Adam taking so much damage right now. Could he end up dying 1v1? It's getting a little hairy. He's going to casually walk away.
That was close, you're right.
You can see the sweat dripping from Adam's forehead right now.
Could be sweat, could be graggy ice, of course, with that skin.
True, that's a valid point, man. I'll have to forgive my ignorance.
Medically quite similar in a lot of cases, especially in university students.
True, very true.
With 4 minutes on the next Drake, looks like Astralis want to set up vision around the Baron, but instead the Shurelias. Now Nuke has Riftwalk and has Flash, and just walks away from that situation that was beginning to unfold. But with TP on both the top laners, I expect to see this sort of dance play out for the next few minutes, Vedi. You know, step in, get some vision control, then Sheo and Labrov will try and step in, get some vision control as well. The only risk really for BDS is you don't really have that tank frontliner, right? So if you're gonna face check into Astralis' vision, who's doing it? Maybe your Karma can do it, but she's going Shurelias. She hasn't even finished that yet. Your Elise can do it, but Cocoon is always Cocoon. Jumping forward, Rocket. JeongHoon, the spiders! Oh, vision! They lost vision!
Yes,
the spiders, they can't see through bushes, their little eyes are too small.
Somewhat ironic, but yes, the spiders were afraid to go into the bushes.
They couldn't see it,
They couldn't see a thing, Medic. He ends up walking away with his life. I wonder if he will develop a fear of spiders off the back of that, or perhaps just know when being chased by spiders, run into a bush. This will give BDS an opportunity to get a little bit more deep vision, steal away the red buff as JeongHoon goes back to reset. But aside from stealing away the red, BDS can't really convert this into a Baron. I'd be very surprised if they started a Baron right now. So you just see this trade of vision. You already talked about the dance earlier.
I'm just imagining you, because you studied psychology for a little while. We'll see if anything happens here quickly. Cocoon coming out. Glacial Prism hits onto the back line. Final spark coming out as well, and Bob's already burst. Sheo now on the front line. Dajor going in as well, having to dodge away. Adam's TP'd in, so has Finn, but Dajor dodges away from the Riftwalk. Adam on the chase onto the back line. Undertow after undertow connecting. JeongHoon, nowhere for him to go. He'll fall as well. And the Viking is berserking through Astralis. 1-1-3 low, ticks down. Nuke going forward once again. Adam on the flank looking for more. Can't block the unstoppable onslaught. The coward runs away as Adam and BDS claim their prize.
Well, BDS can make their way towards the Baron. This should be an easy pickup in what looked like a difficult fight at the start. Very quickly converted into BDS's favor. And it was quite funny watching both Adam and Finn teleport in, completely ignore each other, and just run desperately to the fight. They were like two people who'd seen a sale on in a store and just wanted to desperately get in and on the action.
It's Saitama. He's like, I'm sorry I was late to the fight, guys. There was a discount at my grocery store.
But yeah, the fight started off not that great for BDS. You're going to see the repel come in from the Elise, and then Labrov is going to get hit with the Sejuani ultimate, which with Dajor collapsing on the side, results in a very quick kill. But look at this, Dajor takes a lot of damage off the back of Nuke. And just look at both TP and Adam and Finn, they're just running straight past each other, want to get into the thick of things, but so much more impact on the side of Adam. He's ignoring all of that CC. Finn very quickly got bound up by the cocoon, and there wasn't really much he could offer to the fight as the rest of his team collapsed. And I think this is the beauty of BDS's composition. It's true that they don't have a front line in the traditional sense, but they have so much mobility, they can dance in and out of these fights, whereas Astralis, once they've committed, they've kind of committed and that's it. And it does require a bit of finesse from the side of BDS, but they are finessing. They are dancing right now, Medic, and they have the Baron, they have an advantage, and they're looking to take game 1 in this series.
Finn burns the flash there to make sure he gets out of any danger, but with the Baron, you can see BDS pushing in down towards that bottom lane. Nuke is being marked by 3 players of Astralis. They don't want them to get mid lane prio, but perhaps a flank opportunity here for BDS as Adam's on his way as well. And 113, you knew they were in the area. You're just walking straight into them. Kobbe now trying to get away with a Gale Force. Glacial Prison going on to Labrov again. JeongHoon tries to get the final spark out. That's 1 down. TP coming in from Astralis as they look to perhaps continue this fight. Now, Finn has ult. The question is, do you want to charge into the Olaf? I think the answer right now is no, Vedius, and I think we can both agree that perhaps that is the more prudent course of affairs over the next couple of minutes. But with a Dragon up, Astralis don't want to let this one go for naught. They will face forward towards the mid lane, try and get mid lane prio. Crownie dashing forward, ace in the hole comes out, Nuke tanks it. Undertow's gonna land from Adam, decimating smash as well, he pops the Ragnarok, but Dajor and 113 can escape, and now you wait out the timer on this ultimate, wait as well for JeongHoon to rejoin, but Nuke is having none of it as he dives in. Dajor trying to do the same, Unstoppable Onslaught's gonna hit onto Adam, and he's gonna Ragnarok to get out of there! Astralis bided their time, and for it they get a kill.
The finesse become the finessed as Astralis are able to dance around their opposition.
Cocoon.
Finn will take the cocoon.
Finn pretty tanky, but not tanky enough, already shut down. Crownie will take him, and once again, it's a 4v4 dancing around the river. Wet shoes, wet socks, the bane of most people's existence as they step into the river once again, but Nuke is looking to dash forward. True Shot Barrage hits onto Dajor. Sheo misses the cocoon. It's just a little bit wide of its mark there. Ocean Drake, though, third of the game for Astralis. Glacial Prison flashed away. Nuke dives in, all on his lonesome moon. He's taking the Sjokz, who now is locked up for a second, but he manages to walk away. The stopwatch from Dale will buy a second, but he can't buy enough to save his life. BDS secure the fight and take the Ocean Dragon.
The collapse from BDS is clean, and Nuke is having an incredible game. He has reached level 16 on the Kassadin. The damage is ridiculous. 6-0-3 is the scoreline as he tore apart Astralis.
Timed the level up as well from the 10 stacks on that Rod of Ages, went 15 to 16. So the thing I mentioned paid off, and I just want to remind people of that bit.
Good job, Medic.
Thank you. Frozen Heart now finished on Nuke as well. 3 items on the cast, and he's going to be pretty much unkillable, especially since you don't actually have a huge amount of magic damage on the side of Astralis. Dajor can do it in sustained fights, but if you're in a sustained fight against a Kassadin, you tend to lose those.
So look at how BDS is approaching this from multiple different angles and the range that they have, and they're basically going to collapse onto Kobbe and JeongHoon. They're just waiting for the right moment. Nuke is building up stacks on his ultimate, and then he dives in. So much damage onto the bot lane. Sheo and Crownie arrive at just the right time, and Labrov with the shielding as well means that Nuke can act as the front line, and Astralis are just scattered. They're panicking in that moment as Nuke just crushes them with the assistance of his team. Very well played pipe from BDS, and again, this composition isn't the easiest. You have to be patient, you have to use your range, but BDS playing it to perfection.
And as soon as you see the Glacial Prism come out, it's like, okay, we can go. The Kassadin can riff forward, you're not just going to get CC'd immediately, because that is the one risk for Nuke in these fights. If he goes in and the initial CC hits, there's enough crowd control on the rest of Astralis to actually nuke him before he can nuke them and live up to his name and other things with Nuke. But for the moment, BDS continue to play these fights incredibly well. A minute 30 on the Baron for them, and they have stopped that soul from stacking up as well for Astralis, who only sit now on 2 Drakes. Can Astralis find a pick? Can Astralis find the perfect front-to-back team fight to get them back in this game? Because right now, it is very rapidly slipping through their fingers.
Astralis, they were able to win that much-needed game at the end of the regular season and were able to qualify to the best of 3s. They did have a pretty big win against Mad Lions. The bot lane shenanigans is where they were able to find a big lead, and Dajor came up clutch with his Sylas. But against BDS here in game 1, well, I think we've seen sparks of hope. They put a lot of investment on the bot side of the map, and that investment did not pay off. And again, I want to give a lot of credit to Sheo.
Yeah,
He's done an incredible job of, like, we joked about the blue buff, but it was the correct call at the end of the day. His focus was making sure his bot lane was safe, and not only did he make them safe, he found a lot of advantages. There was a lot of fighting on the bot lane in the early game as Adam was just building a lead by himself. Nuke was just free farming in the mid lane. The bot lane was the only point of concern, and BDS was able to cover for it. So a good early game plan, strong mid game execution, and while we've seen a couple of small mistakes from BDS here and there, overall, this has been a very solid game.
And especially their mid game, which is something they struggled with so much last year, has been very clean. And we'll reiterate your praise for Sheo, something we've seen him do so much through the regular season, even in the group stage, is just tracking the enemy jungler. I remember the game against Koi when he kept Malrang on a leash for so much of the early game. He's so good at making sure that you're just negating any impact that your enemy can have, but perhaps now a little bit too overeager in how he steps forward. Rocket Belt's away, doesn't use the repel. Astralis don't have vision here, so they couldn't step any further forward. Nuke coming in from the side as well. Ace in the hole on Crownie. Takes about a third of his health and will continue to tick away on him. Not too much sustain on that Ezreal, but should be fine to farm up a little bit more. A litany of wards, or it's not a litany. I keep saying, I use the word litany,
it's
but
it's a kitten of wards. Right, that's the correct English.
It's a kitten of wards?
Yes, it's a kitten. It's like
a litany is like a religious hymn book.
No, I'm pretty sure I'm right, Medic.
Yeah, okay.
I'm the color caster.
That's true, that's true.
The Baron will be started off, and Astralis, they should have information. I'm actually not sure how much information that ultimate provided, but they're making their way there regardless.
So Nuke is actually not very mana heavy at the moment. It's very mana light.
Low on mana, that's what you mean?
Wait, he's low on mana, yes. He hasn't splurged on the extra mana package that comes at this portion of the game.
Have you got your thesaurus out today? Is that what you...
Try to use some different words, Betty, okay? He's not very mana heavy. Adam's going to chase 113 out. The Baron's stopped. Lucent Singularity, you see that little swirling ball in the pit there, giving vision for Astralis right now. Dale's gone back and got himself a Void Star.
Look at the bot wave. Minions just dying to the tower right now as Astralis, they feel forced to group up. Finn does have teleport, yet because they don't have that many wards deep into the Baron side of the map.
Could you say mana full?
No, you would just say a puddle of mana.
Full of mana.
Okay? No, you'd say a puddle of mana. He has
a puddle, he has an ocean.
Or he has little, a decent, or a lot. Okay? Or full.
Those are the ones I'll use
no.
from now.
Okay.
He is mana full.
You know.
He's mana less.
As Freak once was, he had no mana. Yeah.
One of the best moments of League of Legends history.
Was it?
Not for free.
Just say. Oh, okay, so we've got like FLICKR doing a roly-poly on stage, and then that. They're on the same level?
I think they're very similar.
Okay, cool, right, cool.
And BDS now going to get their second dragon of the game. At the moment, don't really want to risk the fact that Astralis could steal away the Baron. BDS happy just to keep scaling. You know, Kassadin only gets strong, even though he's already level 18. Get another item under his belt, and he becomes even less killable.
Do you know, I'll never forget, I did this cast many, many years ago where there was a Riven in it. And I forget who the Riven was, but the Riven was at 6 items. And my colleagues, it was a tri-cast, they were saying like, you know, it's not looking good. I don't really see like many positive things to say here for this team. And I said, well, there is one positive. And they said, oh yeah, Riven can't buy any more items.
It's true.
Oh, yeah, I mean, if you think about it, any more gold that Riven gets, somewhat wasted. That's kind of how I'm looking at this Kassadin right now.
Yeah, he's only on 3 items.
The downside is that he does, in fact, still have more items that he can buy. But when he's full build, you know, positives. He can't gain any more levels, Medic.
I will also say, if BDS haven't finished the game by the time Kassadin is full build, we can talk about their mid games again, and their late games perhaps, as they step into the jungle here. Just trying to deny any vision from Astralis, trying to deny the red buff as well as 113 will smite that. He's got a second smite cooldown coming up in just a few seconds. You can see that timer ticking, 9 seconds left on it. BDS will start the Baron. Nuke dodges away from the final spot. JeongHoon now going to be one to step forward. Lucent Singularity used as well, already 8,000 health on the Baron. And for BDS, that's really all that matters. Adam can just stand in the face of 113. 113 trying to get into the pit, but can't get close enough. And Astralis forced away by 3 members of BDS as they managed to secure the Baron. Now Adam chasing onto JeongHoon and Kobbe. JeongHoon's already going to fall. The axe is swinging and the enemies falling as Adam forces the flash out of Kobbe as well. 113 chased underneath the tower by Nuke. And Ace in the hole is little for Astralis. BDS get the Baron, get 2 kills. And even though Dale was able to split push and get a tower, I don't think Astralis' towers will be standing for much longer.
It feels like this game is done and dusted. Only 3 members left alive. Of course, the wave clear is still there from Kobbe. BDS, though, not looking to end things just yet. I feel like that they shouldn't feel confident enough
TP.
to...
Dajor? Crownie has to burn the flash. Now, Dajor is TPing behind them here. It's going to get spotted by Sheo, but Nuke is not here right now. What can Astralis do before Nuke gets here? Not much. He's already joined the party, and BDS will walk away. So that was a TP burn, but not real gain on the side of Astralis.
They got the flashes out from the bot lane of BDS.
Yeah,
that's a small positive, but...
Small mercies.
Yes. At the end of the day, we are looking at a level 18 Kassadin, nearing full build, level 16 Ezreal. There's just not really enough crowd control to lock down. The scaling on BDS is just so strong, and there's very little that Astralis can do about it at this point. Just smart approach to the draft. I did have my concerns around this Elise Olaf, but their early game play was very good. So let's have a look back at this one. Honestly, a very straightforward fight. You have Adam and Nuke covering both, like, entrances towards the Baron as best as they can. The two-man from BDS is just securing the Baron, and then Crownie joins the fight. Good ultimate for 113 to buy time, as Adam on the bot side is just solo killing the support. Everyone else from Astralis is running away. 113 doesn't have the mobility to escape from Nuke, who's able to just melt him down using his fully stacked ultimate. And now they just need to break into the base.
You can do a 1-4 split here if you want. Nuke going into a silent does have that TP. Right now they're just trying to steal away this blue. Sheo taking more of the enemy's blues than his own in this game.
Still up.
Yeah, Nuke does have the teleport. Adam's pushing in the mid wave here. They're going to try and sync these two waves. Bot wave is a double stacked, as is the mid. But Astralis actually might be able to clear this mid lane before the bot lane gets in. So not the best timing from BDS. They are pulling Astralis around the map a little bit. But because Astralis only have to react to one full wave at a time, it makes it a little bit more simple for the defending team.
A part of me feels that BDS don't really appreciate how strong they are. Like, they're taking their time when I really think they could be a lot more aggressive when it comes to the siege. We're now starting to see some of that chip damage. Adam will tank one of the traps, and it's immediately going to get replaced. Nuke, there we are, now hitting the mid lane tower, and this should spread Astralis out a little bit more.
I think Astralis have just sacrificed that mid tower. There's a wave is about 5-10 seconds away from hitting this bot lane. Nuke continues to push in. Astralis will try and defend. The trap's eaten by Adam. Tasty cupcake for him. The tower, though, the target. Nuke coming in from the side now as well, and Astralis just have to back away, but they really can't defend against the onslaught that is BDS. Finn forced away. 113 going in with the Glacial Prison, the final spark as well, but Nuke able to walk away from it. The Mercury treads doing their work there for the BDS mid laner. And now with 2 inhibitors down, BDS can reset, look to make it 3, do it by the numbers, but Finn won't let them get away. Unstoppable onslaught in, and back to the fountain he goes. Sent to the grayscale as he will fall. Another one goes down as Finn dies. JeongHoon tanks up a true shot barrage and is down to half HP. No waves here, no super minions for BDS. Means they will have to wait a few moments longer to close this one out, but it might be a double TP angle, as both Adam and Nuke will retreat, and a super minion in the mid lane means they can push in.
Robbie body blocking for his top laner to make sure that Dajor's stolen Karma Q will not interrupt the back. The poke continues to come down. The damage from Nuke is more than enough. Adam will secure the kill as BDS looks to go 1-0 up in the series.
Yeah, demolition hit from BDS. After the early game, it was in their favor. Nuke picking up a couple of kills, and they managed to snowball this game away from Astralis. BDS 1 game away from a matchup with Mad Lions.
Good draft, good early game execution, and Astralis were left with very few options. We saw some good moments from Astralis.
Yeah.
Nice couple picks from JeongHoon with the Lux. But yeah, unfortunately, when your early game ends up being the Caitlyn, finding herself at a 0-2 angle, there's nothing really for you to play through anymore, you know? And this was something that we talked about coming into the game, and Sheo's approach, I think it was a smart one. We thought that he was going to path top. We thought that he would try and enable his Olaf. We did question whether or not it made sense to try and actually snowball the Olaf necessarily, try and shut down the Sion, but then we realized, oh, the goal isn't actually to play through top, it's actually just to cover bot, make sure the bot is safe, and actually mitigate the single win condition that Astralis have drafted for themselves, which is get their bot lane ahead.
Yeah, and Sheo did a great job of that in the early game. Adam got himself a lead anyway, and was just able to walk through the Caitlyn and the Lux later on as the game did go on. It was clean from BDS. I think there were a couple of moments where perhaps we thought they were being a little bit slow, but I don't blame them for that, right? Like it's an elimination game. Yeah, exactly. Take your time, make sure that you can close the game out. They did exactly that. For Astralis, back to the drawing board in some ways. The Caitlyn Lux, once again, we see it so successful in other regions, really struggled today.
Yep, it certainly has been a bit of a kryptonite here in Europe. The Caitlyn has not found a lot of success, and I think that when we saw Kobbe's best is when he had something that had a lot of agency, in particular in team fights. Yep. His Lucian, his Xayah, both have looked incredibly good. And I think that with the Lucian, of course, being banned, it's something that they need to evaluate. I also think that in the jungle, how are you going to manage this Elise? I do think that 113's champion pool is an issue, and it's something that BDS is very quickly looking to exploit. The fact that they didn't have to ban away the Maokai, the fact that they could first pick the Elise, and you know that he's going to go towards the Sejuani because it is just something that he's comfortable on, it just gave BDS so much control in the early game.
They did. We're already going to the desk, Vedi. We're being played off. Bye.
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 Thank you. I was just making notes. I thought I had more time. But yeah, BDS indeed taking slow. There's nothing wrong with taking it slow. It actually goes for all fastest of life. I guess
what if
unless
you're in a
running
race?
A sprint.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, you're at the Olympics.
Unless, okay, that's the outtake. In any case, though, we were watching this game in the green room, and obviously when you have a Kassadin on one team, you're always thinking about level 16 long before it happens, and when the double kill happened, you both were like, well, the game is over. It will be if we fast forward 30 minutes. And that's it, I guess. Is there anything more to say?
The fun part for me is the game still felt tense after that happened, because I still felt like, wait, there's still wait for Astralis to play through this. We saw some of the highlights, but I really want to talk about that draft as well, just due to the fact that it really sets up how it would. Okay, yeah, but it really just like coming in with the Kassadin into the Sylas, like actually every single champion on BDS felt like it was tailored to just let Dajor play that Sylas, because there was no good Sylas ultimates to steal. It was a good matchup for the Kassadin. It felt really well prepared for BDS. And also just knowing already that when they locked in Sion on top side for Finn and they had that Lux Caitlyn bot lane, they knew they were going to use all their resources. So what would Sheo do? He would get down there immediately.
Yeah, he just went bot lane, could blow it up down there. And I think like even after you lose a couple of kills down towards the bot side of the map, Astralis' team is not necessarily ever out of the game, because I think they have so many like tools to try and find picks that until like the gold lead like goes completely lopsided, you could see angles, right, where like JeongHoon lands the binding and is able to pick up Crownie on the opposite side. And then at the same time too, like you have like the Sejuani as well. So there's a lot of those tools to look for picks. But when it comes to actually team fighting through a Kassadin and through an Ezreal as well, it's really hard once they get levels and items.
So it was kind of like, okay, the scaling is happening and that should be the win condition for BDS. On the other side though, Astralis always has their faith in their own hands if they play it out correctly. But that didn't always happen. I think we can take a look at the bot lane kills to kick us off.
Once again, huge credit to Sheo as well from coming down here so early. But I also think just in general, the bot lane of Astralis didn't get the chance to play the level 1 of this lane how it was supposed to do. They get the kill initially, but Sheo coming down here, look at the entire wave, right? That's going to be a wave that Kobbe is now going to miss because he died. So yeah, you got 1 for 1 here, but the fact that Crownie is alive, they get to take control over this bot lane, it really just blows open the matchup.
Yeah, and then here it just goes from bad to worse, right? Astralis get the initial pick, but here's where Astralis have to back away. Like Kobbe's decision to try and get some pot shots into the back line, I just don't think is the right idea. He's in the middle of 3 players while Dajor is also on the way down. Dajor also goes to the engage, using that ult. He loses all of his mana. Like, actually, how do you continue this fight as the Sylas? It is not going to happen. You're not going to be able to get your spells off, and Nuke is just able to farm kills in a fight that really should have been 1 kill goes and Astralis disengage.
Yeah. Also, really good clarity from Labrov, knowing that the shield cooldown that they could fight through and that there wasn't really any danger from Nuke there, and good shot on the mana as well. Yeah, it was a really good fight.
But as you said, even though the outcome was kind of what you expected, if you have those 2 kills on the Kassadin, it's played out correctly, there were a lot of signs of hope of Astralis within that game, right? I think JeongHoon on that Lux is a great one.
Yeah, he was a great example. I think also Astralis being able to find a lot of the early objectives, playing towards the top side, but as you say, JeongHoon with the bindings, and that's the pick potential, locking down targets. You can
and you can already see it here. Like, they're so hard for them to get the entrance right. If you pause the clip right now, you can actually see that they're putting in a great position where JeongHoon can actually just, no vision around him right now. You can see him in the bush just waiting around. The setup has already been there from Astralis. You can see the pink wards in the minimap as well. And now after already burning cleanse on Crownie that you can see here, it's so difficult to walk in. Adam's trying to be the frontliner, but as we continue the clip, once again, JeongHoon on this Lux, we saw a double binding earlier. Look again onto the targets that he gets, solely wins them this fight. It's a Mountain Drake as well, which is so huge for this Sion.
Also, Finn gets 2 knockups onto Nuke there.
off of the binding too, was already charging up the Sion Q, and then immediately throws the ult down as well. Looked really, really nice.
And it's the sequence that you want to see out of Astralis, and they pulled it off a couple of times successfully. Unfortunately, not enough. And you guys had a lot to say about how the tempo of the dragons that were being taken from the side of Astralis was actually shooting themselves in the foot a little bit.
Yeah, I think what ended up happening was both duo lanes swapped towards the top side of the map around that first Herald.
Yeah.
Right? Astralis played for Herald. Everything looks okay, but the first Drake of the game was taken at, I believe it was 13 minutes. So the second one's coming out in at 18. And basically, because the early Drakes were so delayed, this was a situation where Astralis, if they are looking for sort of a late game win condition in terms of objective play, which they were securing all those early objectives, because they were playing topside, they weren't stacking the Drakes. And the fourth Drake of the game was going to come in after the point that Kassadin would hit level 16. As a matter of fact, it was the third Drake when Kassadin ticked over to level 16. So any sort of early dragon stacking was not going to matter.
And all those small things goes down to the early game as well. The small things that happen, Sheo being there early to shut down the bot lane. The first waves, once again, in this meta, they're so pivotal. And BDS realizing that, hey, we can just shut it down, go for the Kassadin. Brilliant.
Indeed. Astralis did choose the blue side. I want to highlight the Kassa win one more time. Nuke, of course, was built around in this roster as well, you know, was given the confidence in terms of this BDS roster together with all the parts around them showing up as well.
I was really surprised to see Nuke back in BDS initially at the start of the season, but the man has elevated himself. He used to be like, okay, let's put me on Aurelia and see what I can do. Now he's pretty much on everything. Like, he's been on the Control Major, smashing it. He's been on the Kassadin, smashing it. He can go for the other picks as well. And this is just why when we talk about BDS, we don't talk just about one player. It's Adam, it's Crownie, Labrov, it's Sheo, it's Nuke. This entire team is coming together.
It's funny too, because their comp, it's a lot about solo plays, right?
Yeah.
Like Olaf does his thing, Kassadin does his thing, Ezreal does his thing, lots of high agency individual champions, and Nuke was popping in this game again. Here he ticked over to level 16 in a mid lane fight just 15 seconds before action broke out around the Drake. That ult cooldown getting ridiculously short, and he just cleans up in the river.
Yeah, it was beautiful to see. Also, that Olaf on Adam, if he has it, you know there's going to be a point in the game where he's just going to literally be unstoppable. It happens every single time.
Yep.
What?
Also, he just blind picks the Olaf.
Yeah.
Like, Finn has last pick counter pick. He's like, okay, well, I'm not going to pick to win the lane. I guess I'll pick Sion. It's fine for the comp, but like it just feels bad.
You gotta
when
ban
the
it,
enemy
like
team
going
can
in for the
pick
second
Olaf.
rotation like you have to as well. We saw it with X and we saw the Jace, but if you know that's what's gonna happen, respect Adam. Don't fall for the trap.
And to be fair, you guys did say when we were watching the game, well, who's going to kill Finn? Turns out, just kill everyone else.
Yeah, leave him alone.
That's fine. Okay, well, we'll see if Astralis can bring it back to force a game 3 and avoid elimination. We'll be back right after the break.